Alright, in this video I'm going to be talking about IP redirects and IP unreachables, or at least the command that you will see on an interface that you may not know what that is, but everyone says it just needs to be on there. So, little story about who I am. I am Seth Souza, or CCNP Seth that you guys know me of, and I am an instructor. I teach CCNA, CCNP material for an organization. I'm not a certified instructor, but I do teach networking. So I always have students ask me, hey, CCNP Seth, what does this mean? Or what does that do? Can you explain this? So this video is inspired by one of my students who asked me what IP redirects and what IP unreachables are, or at least no IP redirects and no IP unreachables that he sees on his interface, interface configs. So here I will explain what is going on. R2, R3, R4, and R5, they are all in OSPF. Actually, R5 isn't, but I'll explain that a little bit later on. And R1 is a host, but it's a router, but I'm using it as a host, so I turned off routing capabilities, and his default gateway is R2. Okay, so what an IP redirect is when an interface receives a packet and notices that it has to go out the same interface to go to a next hop, which is a better route for that packet. So there's three questions that need to be answered for a redirect to happen. Is the redirect out the same interface? Is IP redirects enabled? Oh, redirects. Is IP redirect enabled on that interface? Normally it is by default, but you may see this command, no IP redirects on an interface, so I'll explain how that happens. And then, is the source IP on the same network as the next hop? So making sure if I redirect this packet to this interface right here, which it will, and I tell R1, hey, to get to that address that you were trying to get to, R3 is the better hop, but I need to make sure that you're on the same network. So I will demonstrate that, and I'll show you the redirect that R2 will send. And let's get straight into it. So let's bring up R1, and I have the config right here. I'm going to do some debugs on Debug Ip Icmp, so that's the first thing I'm going to put on here. So going to config T, although I could have done it in the other level. Yep, gotta get back. All right, debug IP Icmp. All right, now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to ping the loopback address of R4, which is 4.4.4.4. And if we look at router 2's routing table, show IP route, the best way to get to 4.4.4.0, at least that network, is to 10.0.0.3. That is the next hop. And the outgoing interface is fast Ethernet 0/0. And the next hop is this guy right here. But the default gateway of R1 is R2. So we will see R1 send it to R2. R2 will send a redirect back to R1 to say, hey, to get to 4.4.4.4, go to R3. All right, let me demonstrate that. So we'll go ping 4.4.4.4. Let's see what happens. There'll be some ARP resolution. Oh, we got a redirect received. And there you go. So what happened was R1 sent a packet to its default gateway, which is R2 right here, of 10.0.0.2. So that's where we got the redirect from. And it said, all right, to get to 4.4.4.4, use the gateway of 10.3.3 or 10.0.0.3. So that is an IP redirect. So if you have no IP redirect on an interface, then it won't send a redirect. So let's clear the ARP, and let's go into R2 and go to that interface config t interface f0/0 and do no IP redirects. Okay, so I should not get a redirect, an ICMP redirect from R2. So I cleared the ARP cache, so everything's good, for, clean slate. So let's ping it. And all I got were echo replies. So no ICMP IP redirect. So that is what that does. And you can see, if I was doing some packet capturing, you could see what type of message the ICMP was. It's a type 5 with different codes. So a redirect for a host, which R2 was doing, would be a type 5 code 1. All right. So now I'm going to talk about no IP unreachables. So what unreachables are is when you try to ping something or do a trace route, every router can send a feedback message or an ICMP feedback message to the sender saying, hey, I can't get to that network, or I can't get to that host, or some sort of code for an unreachable. So if I was to ping R5 here, his loopback address is 5.5.5.5, and let's say R4 doesn't know how to get there, but he received this packet, he could send an IP unreachable with a code of 0 saying, I don't know how to get to that network. So, and these are the different types of codes out there. One reason why you would apply no IP unreachables is because it could reveal details about your network, like there's an ACL implemented, or that device doesn't have a route to that network. So that could be some important information for an attacker to know. So you just turn this off so that end device doesn't know what happened to that packet. So let's go ahead and try to ping 5.5.5.5 from R1. And right off the bat, we got all unreachables, and we received it from 24.24.24.4. So we got these host unreachable messages. So 24.4 is this interface right here. So they sent us an unreachable. So what we can do is go into R4 and turn that off, and we will not get these messages again. So let's go into R4, config t, interface serial/0, and no IP unreachables. All right, and so now that's on. So now let's ping, and we shouldn't receive any feedback. Nothing, nothing. Come on. Nope, because it was unreachable, and since we turned off no IP unreachables on this interface, then that means it was working. So now we got to see exactly what it does. So if I do a quick IP unreachables again, I'm yelling at it. Go back to R1, do the ping. Look at that, immediately get that feedback. So that is it for no IP redirects and no IP unreachables. That's pretty much it. I mean, if you ever see configs on an interface, or just configs in general, and you don't know what that is, just do a quick research on it, or shoot me a message, and I'll see if I could explain it to you, or possibly even create a video. I enjoy doing these. These things help me as an instructor and help me learn as a network engineer. So just, yeah, I hope you enjoy my videos, and I hope this was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.